It's Vietnam on RPM this week as the little Italian buzz boxes beat their way around Mondello in the Dunlop Fiat Punto and Fiat Uno Challenge races. So fasten your seatbelts as we get right into the action in Ireland's economy tin tops. Brother Ferrari is very much in evidence at Mondello as the Dunlop Punto and Uno Challenge competitors gather at the Nace circuit for their Motorsport Ireland Championship rounds, and it's Carl Leonard who is on pole position for the big race.
I haven't been out in a year, so brought the car down yesterday, and I wasn't going great yesterday, and today with the rain, I seem to like the rain, so I'm on pole today, so I'm delighted.
Well, you're in a little bit of a Leonard sandwich at the moment.
Yeah, one in front of me, one behind me. I've got Leo Nolte as well, and we had a really good race here the last day, and it was really good spectator stuff, so hopefully we'll be in there. And I hope it stays plenty and wet, and make it good and slippy, just to add a little bit more ingredients to it.
Yeah, I'd prefer the wet actually. I go well in the wet normally, but when you got Leo around you, it'll be slippy.
There's going to be a lot of action in this race. It's wet out there, and I've got the in-car camera, so I can't really do anything I'm not supposed to do.
Well, none of them get their wishes as it's dry by the afternoon for the 12-lap Fiat Dunlop Challenge race.
And it is that young Leonard man on pole position. Beside him, Gordon, then Nigel Pratt, then Leo Nolte with the camera. That's it, looking out up the front straight, and another one looking out the back so we can tell us no porkies after this race. Now, the other man with the camera is on the inside of the fifth row, right back. We could jump those two cars and see him. He is the man who had the bad practice. That is Michael Leonard, brother of the boy on pole position, and he has some weird lines. We're waiting for that light to change. We're on board there with Leo. You'll see the line that young Leonard takes. Now, he's not quite sure whether he wants, and a good start there from Carl Leonard on pole position. Gordon can do nothing about it, but this is the man, the Nace Court Hotel. He's going to have a look at the inside and then to the outside, Declan.
Switches to the outside, going round the first corner, and he's running around the outside of Simon Ott there, just tucks in behind him, and certainly a fantastic start there by Michael Leonard Jr., vying for championship honours. He's just working his way inside that competitor there, and he's up a couple of places already as we work our way towards turn 3 on lap 1.
Yeah, Simon Knott there just getting a handful of Michael Leonard Jr. in the background, and Brian Berry, that was the blue car, number 3. He was being pushed out in the grass. Little puff of smoke there. Nolte now in third place, followed by, and you can see there, Simon Knott's car, but in 6th place now, up from 9th, is Michael Leonard. They're coming down into the S's for the first time, and a lot of smoke there. And that is not the way to get in there quick, is it?
A lot of smoke, and Michael Leonard really screaming through that corner, his engine really begging for mercy, as Gordon Kellett in 2nd place has a look at Michael's brother Carl. Carl, as we say, back after a year's absence, and on the exit of that last turn at the end of the first lap, it looks as if Gordon Kellett has really got the advantage there. He's running down the inside. We're in car with Leo Nolte. He's jinking to the right, going down into the first turn. Doesn't look as if there's any room there. Can he get through? Gordon Kellett takes the lead from Carl Leonard. Leo Nolte shoves Carl Leonard out unceremoniously. He certainly got the pace ahead of Carl, and there we go, 1-2. Gordon Kellett, Leo Nolte, Carl Leonard in 3rd place, and a little bit further back we've got Michael Leonard Jr. homing in on Simon Knott.
Simon Knott just about to lose that place, and up front there, that bright pinky is Nigel Pratt. But you know that Carl Leonard lost all that up at the Dunlop hairpin, leaving the door open, let Gordon down the inside, and then of course the wily Leo gets right under his bumper. You're looking out the back of Leo's car, and you can see the 4th place man there, Pratt, wants to get on about his business. Yellow flags waving continuously there, so there should be no passing. Doesn't mean you can't creep up on the back bumper. 2 out on the right there. They'll be going nowhere. Pratt still there looking for that place, but Leonard really getting a good scream at a Dunlop.
Little bit of a mistake there by Nigel Pratt as they exited Dunlop at the end of that turn, and it gives Michael Leonard Jr. an opportunity to get a run down the outside, and it looks as if he's made it stick. That's incredible. He was able to turn in on something approaching a racing line as he goes round the outside of Nigel Pratt. That gives him the inside line for turn 2, and he's worked his way up to 5th. That's incredible. He's only got his brother ahead of him, and then some championship rivals.
We see if the brothers are touching the Rubio, will he pull over, allow him through? I doubt it very much. We're looking out the back of Leo's car, down at turn 3 it is. It's a double apex, in tight. You've got to let the car run out and you're heading for the S's. This man is under no pressure at all. He was really giving the lads stick for the amount of testing they were doing. You can see the side of Leo's car there slightly rearranged, but Gordon was giving the lads a lot of stick for testing. He said they haven't changed the circuit in years, so he doesn't know why they come down test now. That is Leonard there. He's got by Pratt, remember, and Carl could be his next victim.
There's Brian Berry there in 5th place, Simon Knott in 6th in the SDS car, Fiat Racing, and a couple of Unos there just being cleared out of the way. It looks as if that problem, that obstruction has been cleared. We should have good racing at that corner from now until the flag. But up ahead, Gordon Kellett in that immaculate white car is really, he's in control. The man has peerless experience around this place. As you say, his car would probably go round on its own if he put it near the track. It's seen so many laps around here. Gordon doesn't need testing. Some of his younger rivals feel they need to tune up and keep pushing, and certainly pushing here and pointing at his brother. That's Michael Leonard Jr. I don't know what he's trying to say there. Is he making a request that Carl should make a move on Leo Nolte?
Well, that's exactly it. What he's trying to say is, I'm not going to pass you if you don't get out of the way. Well, basically, he's just not going quick enough. He should be chasing Leo. He's having a look down the inside, but dives that inside line, locking up. He doesn't want to push him off. He doesn't want to damage. But there is a big thing going on here. The championship is between Leo and Michael Leonard. Now, at the moment, brother Carl is in between these two, so he was pointing, saying, come on, Carl, get your finger out and let's get at Leo. But he'll wait for a few seconds. If that doesn't happen, you'll see him go by the brother.
All flags up at Dunlop at the end of that lap, and that's allowed Nigel Pratt, or at least Nigel Pratt from the previous corner.
Sorry, Declan, but he actually lost the place there, Michael Leonard. With all that pointing and shouting, he has jumped back behind Pratt, so he's got to do it all over again.
Yes, his move on Carl Leonard actually didn't come out, and that allowed Nigel Pratt to get a run on the way out of the S's, so he's got it all to do. Nigel Pratt, a little bit of a gap to Carl Leonard, and I'm sure Michael Leonard will be feeling a little bit of frustration there. He wants to get up past Carl Leonard and up to Leo Nolte, the man that he's really vying for championship honours with. Of course, Gordon Kellett in there going well on points too, but we're not really sure if he's going to see the whole season out when the Fiat Punto Abarth series comes. And there is Michael Leonard Jr. makes a run down the outside on Nigel Pratt. Difficult to see that one sticking.
Just getting the drag out of it there, but he's gone through all this with Nigel before, so Nigel will be wide to all the places that he has that little bit of grunt. Coming up the hill out of turn 3 now, a little dive up the inside is to get him over to the right, but he'll look, and very late on the brakes. 10 out of 10 for that one.
Michael Leonard Jr. is always fantastic on the brakes, and he really left it as late as possible. I'm sure Nigel Pratt was very surprised. He wouldn't have thought that Michael could make a move there, and left a great big hole for him. He's right behind him as they approach the first turn, Hewlett Packard, and doesn't look as if Nigel Pratt's going to be sent down the outside, and he's not able to make it. Oh, he slides it out there, and really there's no way that he can make it stick. Michael Leonard Jr. defending well. He's got a little bit of a gap. That's Leo Nolte running in second place, desperately chasing down our leader Gordon Kellett. Oh, two boys getting it pretty wrong there at turn 2, spinning in unison. It's a rather balletic performance there.
That's young Leonard out there on the rumbles again. Smoke coming from the back of Carl's car, but he's on the brakes. He's just locking the wheels. I think he's overdriving it slightly. He hasn't been out for a year. I'm not sure whether it's the car or him, but that's Leo having a look at Gordon as they go up the hill. Now, all that time that young Leonard was back a place and up a place, I think Leo should have gained maybe a length or two and put this second place right out. But in the background you can see that already Michael is catching brother Carl once again. Will he make it stick this time?
Virtually nothing to choose between the top 5 as they work through our picture there. And there's a little bit further back. Oops, it's not exactly what he intended to do. And Pat McConnell, oh, and he's been, and I don't think Pat McConnell was really quite expecting. I'm sure he thought he could scrabble around Dunlop until he got that unceremonious nerf and ends up in the gravel trap. Hardly will be that happy. Meanwhile, up front, our leader Gordon Kellett really looks in good shape. Leo's not quite close enough to make an overtaking attempt. Therefore, that allows Gordon to take his normal line, his natural line. Leo similarly has a decent gap now on Carl Leonard. and that means that Leo is able to just go in qualifying mode. The two of them up front, there's nothing to choose between them. They're 100th for 100th, 10th for 10th as they go around this course. And now Michael Leonard Jr. is right back on the tail of his brother Carl Leonard.
Yeah, Carl at the moment might be getting a little tired. It looked as if he put on a little weight over the winter, but Michael at the moment really hoofing this thing in the inside. We were having another look out the back of Leo to see what it's out. This is where he had that really late braking manoeuvre, but you can see Carl up the middle of the road. That doesn't give him the opportunity, but he can't get around the outside, so if he can swing it back inside. Remember, the next one is basically a right-hander, so if he can get alongside here and get a run. Now there's a chance that Pratt, who was really close to Michael, waving to his brother. You don't do that, you might come off for yourself. Pratt was trying to get close enough to be sucked in, but he doesn't. So it's up into a very good third place and a good drive. Remember, starting 9th.
Well, as we work ahead, Michael Leonard Jr., having dealt with his brother Carl, is now on the tail of Leo Nolte, approaching the end of the race. And there's the little he can do about Leo Nolte in the car sport car ahead of him. And indeed, Gordon Kellett has driven a peerless race. Nothing between these three drivers on lap times. Nothing between them on the lap charts and on the point standings at the end of the race. And there's Michael Leonard Jr., as we look behind from Leo Nolte's car, showing the signs of the battle earlier in the race. He's driven brilliantly up from 9th place, and really I'm sure he'd be very, very happy to have made the podium by now.
But watch out, this is where he pulls these amazing late braking manoeuvres. Now if you happen to be in the way, you could be a passenger into the gravel, but keep an eye on the red and white car. Will he be doing, oh, well, that's about 3-4 car lengths less than anyone else, but will he get away with it? I don't think so. Leo would be wide for that. He knows it's one of his best places.
They can wave at each other, but Gordon Kellett, he's waving to the crowd. He's won this race, a peerless victory.
All it takes is just to miss a gear and you're back in 5th place, so you've got to really work hard at it. So it was a good race, enjoyed it.
A super race, and now just 3 points between the top 3 title protagonists, Leonard, Nolte and Kellett, going into the next round. Well, as usual, there's a huge entry of the nimble Fiat Unos for the Dunlop Challenge race at Mondello Park, but the weather they face is the biggest challenge of all.
It was a very wet qualifying session out there. Now Liam did get the legs of me all right, but it started to dry up. He got his fast lap on the last lap and I got, I think, on my 2nd lap, but it'll be an interesting race.
Yeah, well, rain is what we hope for, you know, because the car is actually down on power. So we're hoping for a wet day to even things out. Lucky enough, we seem to have a wet day. Hope we can go well and we can win the race with a bit of luck.
They might be praying for rain, but the farmers there don't want it. We've had enough rain so far this month to do us for 3 months. Cavan there being pushed back on the grid. Not a normal place for him, I must say, Liam, but at the outside of the front row, Quinton Smith, he's doing well. Now that's our on-board man, Barry Rabbit, in a nice position on the outside of the 2nd row. Nice and slippy. On the inside of that row is Noel Green, and then we've Matt Dunn and PJ Lawler. And this are the Unos, and away they go, and a good start. As you can see, our onboard man gets a great start. He's actually up beside Quinton Smith, making a 3 abreast. Now Quinton's in the sandwich. Liam isn't going to back off, gets it a bit sideways, but he does make it into the lead. But the sneaky Barry Rabbit, it's around the outside.
Fabulous start by Barry Rabbit, matched revs to grip, available grip perfectly, and as they go through the 2nd bend, oh, an amazing tank slapper there by Quinton Smith. He managed just to get into the lead as they came out of the first corner. He's in all sorts of tiptoe situations in the first couple of turns, and he's pushing like hell. He knows how to win. Unbelievable! He's so far sideways. No, it must be gone. Barry Rabbit is heart in his mouth. He's got up inside. It's a bit of a bang, bit of a slap there, but he's managed to get around the outside as they run down to the S's on lap 1. And Quinton Smith on the inside here. What exactly is going to happen on this absolutely treacherous conditions? Quinton Smith goes sideways. Barry Rabbit manages to get up the inside on the 2nd part of the S's. Looks as if he's made it stick if he can work his way through here. 3rd place is Kavanagh, 4th place Noel Green. Bit of a gap to PJ Lawler. And as they come up to Dunlop at the end of lap 1, it is Barry Rabbit in the lead. 2nd place Quinton Smith gets a bit of a knock there from Kavanagh, and PJ Lawler, that's unbelievable. There's no way he can can race in those conditions. That just shows you exactly what it's like to race with a steamed up visor, steamed up windscreen. He's wiping away there furiously. There's not a lot he can do. Barry Rabbit down the inside at the start of lap 2.
Well, a good move there from Rabbit, because remember now, in fairness to Quinton Smith, they did their warm-up lap, not at the speeds they were doing, but suddenly arrives down there with all these wheels locking. You can see that there's a little gap out through there they can see. I'm not sure what he can see, but he didn't see him sneaking up on his inside as he went through that left-hander out into the country, but a good run. But look at Rabbit again, getting the front to move around, so he's pulled his 2 car legs. Quinton Smith now sitting there, and Liam Kavanagh there in the 3rd place car, and you can see from our onboard there, not a great view out of it. But this here now, nearly threw it away, Barry Rabbit, but has held it all together. He's beaten a good man in the wet in Quinton Smith at the moment.
Super reactions there. There's absolutely no weight in these Fiat Unos. They're actually incredibly nimble and quick in the dry, but in the wet, in these conditions, there's so little feel, and to actually have caught that slide, incredible too for Quinton Smith, the way he's been living on opposite lock for the first couple of laps, and he's right on the tail of Barry Rabbit as they work their way at the end of the 2nd lap. These 2 drivers, Mark Monk, looks like he's retiring to the pits. A problem there for that immaculately turned out car. Quinton Smith down the outside at Hewlett-Packard. On lap 3, Barry Rabbit defends well, tiptoeing his way through the wet weather. It's incredible the performance of these drivers, because really in the wet conditions like this, you just have to be so careful, and you're just the most sensitive of hand controls, the most sensitive of feet controls, and very impressive there by Barry Rabbit and Quinton Smith.
Yeah, he's just in there opposite lock. The minute he feels, you can see the streams of water now here at Mondello Park, and that's nothing to do with the circuit at all. We have had such rain today, like there was a chance maybe we weren't going to get to race at all. But you can see that this young man I am more than impressed with. Oh dear, that's a young lady there. She's well out. Alison Langford in the kitty litter, as they say. You can see now wipers not really working, wasted time, just give it a rub and let it at it. Back with those leaders, Cavan in 3rd, and still Noel Green in that 4th place, but a little bit of a dry line appearing, just a little bit of water being swept away, and they're getting slightly quicker.
It looks as if it's improving slightly for them, and there's Noel Green in 4th place behind Kavanagh. Kavanagh, as we say, struggling with a down on power engine. He's done very well to be up with the leaders, really. His engine way down on power as we burst forward and we have Barry Rabbit still leading and still hanging on in front and doing a wonderful defensive job. He's never won a championship round, so this is a big day for this young man.
It's a big day, and in big bad conditions. He's just missing the curb. You can hear him just feathering the throttle, and he's pulled a couple more car lengths now. He's settled himself down. I think the idea out leading that serious driver, Quinton Smith, and he knows what it's like to drive in the wet. And watch him turn in. The minute he hits that pool of water, down in the 2nd, nice and slowly off, big pool on the inside again, but nice and easy off with the clutch, and press that throttle nice and gentle, and he's pulled that another car length.
The wet is all about being smooth. It's not about being a hero, and he's very impressive, Barry Rabbit, the way he's defending this position. He knows the experience of Quinton Smith, what exactly he's done in motor racing. He's won many races here in Mondello Park. He's been the pace setter in Unos for the last 3 seasons, yet to win a championship, and that a frustrating lack in his CV that he'll be hoping to put right this year. If he manages to complete the championship, there is talk of him going to Fiat Abarth. I'm sure he'll stick with the Unos to try and nail that championship, but today, this afternoon, Barry Rabbit is really putting it up to him and showing him in the wet, the great leveller, just what a talent he is.
Well, in fairness to Liam Kavanagh as well, coming up the hill there, he pulled about 3 or 4 car lengths, and running through there, number 22 was also Peter Drennan. Now remember that down the grid we're having plenty of battles, but this is the battle for the lead, and watch for the red car in the background. Noel Green is still right on the bumper of Liam Kavanagh, but he's not giving up. He's still holding that centre of the road line, and coming up the hill, he's looking for that 2nd place in Quinton Smith. Through that left-hander, he can pull that odd car length, but coming back again, down into Hewlett-Packard. Oh no, don't tell me number 64 there is going to Pat O'Sullivan. Just lost his braking, and unfortunately of all the places to go, into the back of poor Allison's car.
Well, Ronnie Griffin has a little bit of work to do to fix that car of Pat O'Sullivan's. There's just nothing you can do. Once you lose grip in these treacherously wet conditions, he's just the the front wheels locked, and that's the safety car. They brought the safety car out to try and clear the damage of those two wrecked Unos, and Barry Rabbit in car, he's waving at his fellow competitors, desperately trying to inform them that he's slowed.
And you'll see now what he's actually slowing for, where this car has gone into the back of poor Allison's car. It's not that far off the racing line, so I would be surprised if we don't get the old safety car out while they clear this, and there it is. Not that I'm a great fortune teller, but that was just too dangerous a situation. Now away goes that safety car. That's been out there for 4 laps now. We're jumping ahead. Let's see if young Barry can pull off another demon start. Remember, Quinton Smith has been in this situation, and he's no doll. You see how tight they are, but he can back off. Nobody can pass till they get to that green flag. He's only got the one. They're going through the yellow. Beautiful. He has slowed them down, get them off the par. Now he buries it, and I think he can pull it off.
Really nice rolling start there from Barry Rabbit. Wouldn't be used to leading in these conditions. A rolling start, heading for his first championship win. He'd be nervous. Quinton Smith down the outside into the first turn. He has a look, but there's little he can do about it. Barry really defending quite cleanly there, and quite a nice run through that turn. In third place, Liam Kavanagh's just dropping off the pace there a bit, as we said, struggling with the down on power engine, and really doing a fantastic job today with his Brendan Travers prepared car. As we work our way down towards down the back of the country into this double apex right-hander, and this is the tiptoe corner. No grip here at all in the wet, and really Barry Rabbit is managing to keep his car on the straight and narrow as he works his way out of that corner. Quinton Smith is the one that really struggled there. Barry has opened up a bit of a gap on the last lap.
Liam Kavanagh seems to have found a bit of grunt. He's in on the tail of him. Remember, there's only that one Noel Green's have. Oh, he gets it outside of us again. The tail just steps out on Quinton Smith. Whatever chance he had of catching this up, man, it's over. Look at Kavanagh out the outside. He's out on the dirt. He's trying everything. Second would be better than first, but he's looking again. What can he do? He can't get around the back when to be out dragged to the line, but I think it's Barry's day.
And outside of the last corner, Liam Kavanagh attempted it. Nothing he can do about that, though. Quinton Smith makes it, and there's a jubilant Barry Rabbit as he takes his first championship win. A wonderful success for the young Dubliner. Barry Rabbit your winner, Quinton Smith second for once, and Liam Kavanagh in third. And in the point standings, Quinton Smith by 9 points from Barry Rabbit.
Enjoyable drive, but the engine slightly down on power. Full second gear going into the first corner, just didn't work. We lost 2 places, and that was it.
Quinn had a big moment out in the country, out the back, and I thought he was going to come out. I wasn't sure whether he'd spear back across the track in front of me, so I was sort of holding back till I seen which way he went, and then I realised he more or less had under control, which I really believed at the angle the car was at, and I went for up the inside. We touched the bit coming out of it, and then was into the S's before I finally made the move 6. So.
As the Fiat Motorsport Club awaits the arrival of their new flagship Abarth racers, it's the Puntos and Unos that continue to enjoy the twilight. Leon Nolte has agreed to carry a wire for the Dunlop Fiat Challenge race.
Yeah, I'm going to be wired up today. I've done it in the dry before, it's not really an issue, it's good fun, but in the wet you've got to concentrate a little more. These cars are a little bit twitchy, so it might be a bit of hard work. There might be a few silences or maybe a few beeps today.
Leo lies in second place in the points behind Michael Leonard, and there was contact the last time out.
Leo races as hard as I do and as anyone, so I would expect that he could have backed off, but listen, at the end of the day it's racing, so you take it and you give it.
5 female Fiat Flyers headed by Jenny Ryan give away nothing to the boys. Meet one of the newcomers.
No, the guys aren't gentle, but you learn to give as good as you get, and that's the way you drive out there. Give nobody any room.
Many drivers find it difficult to think straight, let alone talk about it. Leo now gives us a unique insight into a tin-top racer's thoughts.
Gareth Graham on pole position, former Northern Ireland Metro champion. We haven't seen much of him at the sharp end of the Punto grid, but certainly giving us all a surprise today, going very well on the wet in this Zetter-sponsored car. Mick Leonard, of course, I know particularly well, after a little skirmish in Anglesey, outside of the front row. Nigel Pratt beside me, a lot of experience there, so we'll see how we get on.
Pole position, Derek Graham gives it a fine start, but Michael Leonard Jr. loses traction and has to settle for second. Clive Pratt is the quickest off the line and tries the long way round our man Leo at Hewlett-Packard Bend.
outside of us there. Good move by Nigel. Obviously we're not very happy with that. Trying to rectify that before the lap is out. He initially got off the line very well, but lost out then after that. A little bit slippy here.
Just how slippy is shown by our other onboard cameraman, Brian Berry, in 8th place, as his car swaps ends on turn 3. The Dubliner then waits his turn to rejoin the action, while Leo continues to hand Carlos Clive Pratt.
Nigel well out of shape there. Looks like we've got a bit of balance in the car, might have a bit of pace, and we can hang on to these guys. Conditions very bad already, can't really see a thing there. Mick Leonard down the inside, takes the lead.
So now it's Leonard from Graham, with Pratt in 3rd place and Leo in 4th.
It looks like Derek Graham's got it back. We've got a bit of a run down here. Nigel blocking already. We really need to get by Nigel. He's not a championship contender. Car getting out of shape there. Already we see Gordon Kellett coming after us.
Leo is scrambling to hold on to the leading trio of Derek Graham, Michael Leonard and Clive Pratt, while behind him series leader Gordon Kellett is in 5th, and he's managed to find a way past Paddock McConnell and Mick Melady.
Again, first 3 we're only really hanging on here. Don't have huge pace, we'll see what happens. Good run there, Nigel out wide. Very sideways there. Looks like Mick Leonard's taking the lead again. That could be the end of him. We're in 4th place now. The man we've got to worry about for the championship, Gordon Kellett, up to 5th.
Yeah, Michael Leonard's pressure is finally told on Derek Graham as the Nace Court Hotel team driver takes the lead. Meanwhile, Brian Berry is busy making amends for his earlier spin and has latched into the battle between the Punto newcomer Jenny Ryan and leader of the Fiat Uno class, Quinton Smith. There's little to choose between the quicker Unos and many of the Puntos in this packed Fiat Motorsport Club field, but Berry is fired up after his early faux pas and makes light work of this battle in 2 consecutive corners. Moving ahead a lap, and Leonard is not pulling away from Graham, with Pratt in close attendance and Nolte still hanging on there in 4th. Gordon Kellett is only 5th from Mick Melady, while further back Kieran Sands and Jennifer Daniel show that a moment's lap of concentration can have catastrophic results in these treacherous conditions. Sands gathers it up in time, but Daniel is beached for the afternoon.
Nigel not giving us a whole lot of room. He might get out of shape here. He's gone in very deep. He's looking to come across the back of him. There he goes. A lot of wheel spin there. Nigel really not giving me a whole lot of room there at all. There's Derek Graham gone. We're up to 3rd podium position. We're looking for 2nd place now from Nigel Pratt. Nigel again getting a little bit out of shape. We have him ruffled. Actually, Nigel won't mind a bit of damage. He owns a body shop. I better not hit him after saying that. I'm only joking, Nigel. Again, high class coming through here. Nigel knows there are yellow flags. We can't have a go at him, and he's taking it quite easy through here. Yeah, and here's where we got a run at him last time. Straight line, again, maybe losing a little bit to him there. And a second, Nigel got a little bit wide. Carefully squeezing the power on here. And Nigel has that little bit of traction there that we don't have out of those slow ones. Have to be braver through the quick stuff.
So Derek Graham's blown diff has put paid to the Ulsterman's chances of a surprise podium and made it considerably easier for leader Michael Leonard and elevated our intrepid reporter Nolte to a fine third position. Further back, Quinton Smith is showing the signs of contact in his leading Uno as Richard Kearney grapples with his Punto just ahead of Jenny Ryan's similar machine with the Unos of Mark Monks and Matt Dunn further behind him. Meanwhile, Leo is getting in terms with Nigel.
Yeah, we have him under pressure. We need these little mistakes from Nigel because he has that bit of pace. If he gets away from us, nothing we can do. Moment there. Managed to gather it all up. Thumbs up to the RPM cameras. Oh, I don't know if that was luck or skill. That's probably sorted out our podium positions. Maybe that's my last warning. Should throttle back a little bit. Check the gauges, everything's okay. First time we've done that. Brendan Travers will kill me. Nobody behind us there for third. So looks like we're way out in front of the fourth place man. Who I would imagine is probably Gordon Kellett. I would have expected Gordon to challenge us in this race.
PJ Lawler is having a thugged up day amongst the Uno warriors. You may have the red mist in your racing brain, but when the screen is also misted over, it does not make for good results. The Carlo driver will finish 7th amongst the older cars. The final lap, and Michael Leonard's masterful display in the tricky conditions is almost complete as he laps a back marker while Pratt and Nolte chase on in vain a short distance behind. Leo may have come in like a mouse in the early laps, insisting that those championship points were all important, but he's going out, like his name suggests, a lion. The Nace Ace is now definitely on the tail of the pink Punto with half a lap to go.
Yeah, and as close as we've been on the last lap here, but we'd probably be better off just hang on for third. Racing instinct telling me otherwise. Getting every available bit of traction here. What if I go into Dunlop here? Things aren't looking too bad. Last lap, second last corner. Nearly put him in the pit lane.
Oh, good try, Leo.
That didn't really work.
As he said, it didn't really work, so it's Michael Leonard, Nigel Pratt, and our hero, Leo.
I think we're well impressed. Okay, that's going to close us in for the championship lead. Paul and a few of the marshals. There's Kerry.
Quinton Smith is #1 on the road for the Unos, but Michael Leonard is the top man today.
Well, we had a good race today. The lads spent all day getting it ready. It wasn't right yesterday at all, but we got it to the finish for a change.
It's great fun. I got a good start and had great fun with Leo most of the race. We followed Graham with an oil problem and that made it slippy. And then I knew Leo would have to come around me, so just watched my mirrors.
I nearly went round myself a couple of times, Brian. Yeah, great race, absolutely fantastic. I ran with Nigel, very close, very clean, but I think my car seems to think it's a Mark II Escort. Bit of an identity crisis there. It's sideways all the time like a rear-wheel drive car.
It's a reasonably quiet race compared to 1 or 2 this year.
We're all in good behaviour now, Brian. No more of that.
We have our first taste on RPM of the eagerly awaited Fiat Punto Abarth Cup and the 12-lap sprint race. RPM's cockpit reporter Leo Nolte has wangled a drive in these exciting 160 brake horsepower racers. He'll be up against the likes of Dubliner Richie Faulkner.
They're absolutely gorgeous. They're like a proper racing car. They're just an improvement on last year in every way, and they're just absolutely fabulous to drive.
#1, but our celebrity man today, 5th in the grid, super.
Yeah, going very well, Brian. These cars are fantastic. I was lucky enough that a major celebrity pulled out and I was the only man around with a licence, but these cars are fantastic. I'm able to use a lot of the stuff that I learned in the old Puntos for setup. Aidan and myself have done a lot of work on the car and it seems to be right on the pace.
Away from the grid for the 12-lap sprint race, and it's Gordon Kellett desperately trying to fend off Liam Denning and Joey Freeburn. Meanwhile, our man Leo is making the most of his celebrity chance to get by Richie Faulkner.
We're up to third place there. It was a great first corner. Let's see if we can displace one of these guys now.
Denning makes his bid at the second part of turn 3 as Gordon Kellett gets the dreaded touring car hops. Denning and Kellett's cars are already showing the scars of battle. Meanwhile, Leo is in close attendance, and he's got his mirrors full of Brian Haid, Richie Faulkner, Quentin Smith and Joey Freeburn, the latter fighting back after his bid for glory at turn 1.
Place now, huge encouragement from the pit crew on the limiter there, going by the stand. We're not going to let Brian Haid down the inside. There goes Haid, but we can leave him out there, that's not a problem. We're not going to get by us for turn 2. Grab third gear there and absolutely throw the car in.
Moving ahead to lap 4, and Denning has opened up a slight gap, but Leo is still working hard.
Thumbs up to the pit crew there, things really going well into fourth gear now. Here comes Haid again, we've still got to defend this inside line, I think. Haid certainly having a look there. That's lost us a lot of time.
Resume the action on the last lap, and Liam Denning's first Fiat Punto Abarth Cup victory is assured as long as he can get through the final turn unscathed. Poleman Gordon Kellett follows him home for second place, but the final podium spot is still very much up for grabs.
Let Joey up that inside line. Who's it going to be this time? Slow it right down. Looks like we're going to get a podium. Yes, we are. Fantastic stuff. Podium on a Punto debut. Oh, that was hard work. Oh, fantastic cars. Really hard work, but really good to drive. Oh, I've got to do it all again later on.
Do it all again they have to do, but this time it's different because the first 6 that finished the first race have reversed themselves round, which puts Faulkner on that pole position. It's a rolling start as well. Lights are on red, they've just turned the green, and look at the start that Faulkner gets. Remember we saw Haid go off the road? Well, he's got himself up on that front road, so it's between Faulkner and Haid as they get into that first corner. Freeburn in third, and our intrepid reporter in the middle of this gaggle finished third, so he starts fourth.
There's Faulkner still leading. The former karting star has Brian Haid in his mirrors. Joey Freeburn farther behind, and there's Quentin Smith, former Fiat Uno front runner, and he's running on the grass as just ahead of us. There's Gordon Kellett down the inside into turn 3. We're in car with Liam Denning, the winner from race 1, remember, but he's had to start in 6th place, and he hops over the inside curve, and he's got, looks like it's Leo Nolte, our reporter, just ahead of him and working hard again.
The next man he has his sights on is there, that man there, Gordon Kellett, having a look at him. Billy Griffin there trying a long way round the outside. It can be done, but up front it's still Faulkner from Haid, from Joey Freeburn. These 3, little gap appearing. Faulkner there just getting wide, but not afraid to go wide, and Haid just trying to get in on that bumper. It's a long way to go, 15 laps, remember.
Great move there by Leo Nolte. Big lunge down the inside of his old sparring partner Gordon Kellett from the old shape Puntos. Kellett right now on his boot lid as we go down into turn 1. Faulkner just holding off Haid, and there's a big lunge there from race 1 winner Liam Denning. He's run right round the outside, and he's really paid for it. There's Dave McGuire. He's managed to get ahead in the DuPont Fiat Punto Abarth car, and Denning a little bit upset about that, I should think.
You can see that if you come in too late, they just understeer. Dunlop slicks or no Dunlop slicks, they're going to run wide on you. Back up front, Faulkner, look at Freeburn right on the tail. That's Dave McGuire. Denning hasn't given up yet. He lost out that time, and I'd say he's kicking himself for that mistake. But Dave McGuire sitting there waiting to pounce, and pounce he did, looking at that long way round. And up front, that's Leo and Gordon. So those two having a battle, but all this thing is letting the first three get away.
That's it, and Denning showing plenty of confidence running around the outside. As we look in the background, fourth place man Leo Nolte defending down the inside of the final turn, Dunlop corner, and there in the background we saw it was Liam Denning running wide on the exit of that corner. Leo Nolte holding up this gaggle, and they really are screaming to get past him. Remember, reverse grid for the top 6 runners in this feature race as Brian Hayes smokes it up into the turn 1.
You can see Gordon there well out on the outside, Dave McGuire, Denning on the inside, and all this time Leo looks in the mirror and says, who's it going to be next? I've just got rid of Denning. Thinks, oh no, it's Dave McGuire. Side by side, Denning being kept on the grass there by Gordon. No wing mirrors involved because they've lost them a long time ago. There's the first two men. Faulkner still from Brian Hayes. Hayes at the moment playing a waiting game, not scrubbing off the turns. There is Leo holding this long train. Now watch it, he's looking left, he's looking right. On the outside is Griffin, on the inside is Gordon. Who'll he take off? And he loses out there badly. Looks as if he missed a gear.
Well, Leo just had to back out of that altogether. It's pretty hectic in there. We saw Billy Griffin gesturing from the cockpit. He obviously had something to say about what was going on there. 3 abreast as they went down the main straight. And as we go on lap 9, it's still, of course, Richie Faulkner, and he's managing to hold off. And there's Leo. He's run out onto the dirt at turn 2, Evening Herald corner. And I think really Leo's going to call it a day at this stage. He's got his podium already today. There's Quentin Smith, former Fiat Uno front runner, and he's just ahead of Gordon Kellett and Billy Griffin and the rest, all in a big train behind. Liam Denning has really worked his way from the front to the back this afternoon. We'll see more of him this afternoon.
You can see the side of Gordon Kellett's car showing a few scars. If that's all the damage you're going to have, Denning really having a look out around the outside of Malloy, but oh, he lost out on that one manoeuvre. Quentin Smith just closing that door nicely on Gordon. No better man to do it to him, but them bouncing around. This is because they're on slick tires. Little rub of the green now. It's going to be tight here as they get down in there, but a beautiful manoeuvre from Gordon. Got the slingshot out. Young Faulkner there in the Snazzy Bags car. He's still under pressure from Hayes, and Freeburn just maybe having a little rest. But these two, the winner could be from these two.
Richie Faulkner still hanging on in front, of course a former karting star from a dynasty, a motor racing dynasty family, and there's Brian Hayes down the inside. Brian Hayes, he knows all about winning in Fiat Puntos, and he looks as if he's actually got ahead through turn 1. We're on lap 11 and Hayes has managed to make it out count after all that pressure. Finally Richie Faulkner cracked, and Joey Freeburn is next on his list.
I think young Nicky Meredith might have blown up just about 10 or 15 seconds beforehand because he got a lot of understeer there for him. But Hayes, in fairness, took his chance and he's pulled the car length. Look at him sitting there. Now will he go out wide? It's a bit slippy on that inside, down the centre, just a little bit. You can see Freeburn as well just got that inside line, so he's going to lose 2 places. Oh my dear.
Well, that's pretty tough on Faulkner. He's been muscled out at turn 1 by both these protagonists, and Richie, this Joey Freeburn into second place now. He'd be pretty pleased to have worked his way up from earlier on when he was really struggling, and we see ahead of him Brian Hayes heading towards his first victory in Fiat Punto Abarth. A tremendous performance by Brian. We'll see if he can hold on and if he can make this one count all the way to the flag, but he's really opened up a gap now on Joey Freeburn. Can Joey, he had all the pace in rounds 1 and 2, can he reel in Brian Hayes closer to the end of this race?
Well, it just goes to show that it's all down to qualifying, but by putting these young men on the front row, they have really done the business in this one, waiting for the flag. He's starting his last lap at the moment, so Freeburn now dropping again into the clutches of young Faulkner, but this lad here straight down the centre, avoiding that slippy patch and locking a back wheel there. He's got back his second place, but will he hold on to it? But it just shows the reverse grid, the drivers are happy with it. It shows you qualify well, you can win a race. If you're down with the Brat Pack, you're in trouble.
Well, Richie's really found the limit there at turn 1, and he's made amends for those earlier problems he was having. And we see Joey Freeburn now in third place, still attacking, not giving up. He'd be pretty annoyed to have got into second place, a hard fought second place, and to have let it go from Richie Faulkner. But Richie is a doughty competitor, belies his years, the experience he's got in karting really standing to him, as we see that his car is wearing some of the scars of battle, and these cars absolutely immaculate in the first 2 rounds, and already they're starting to get a bit of panel damage.
Yeah, everybody thinking these cars are beautiful. Remember that it is the last race weekend for them, so they'll be putting them all to bed for the winter. But again, you can't have good saloon car racing without investing a wing or a rub on a wing, and that's how it finished. Hey, from Faulkner, Joey Freeburn, Gordon Kelly survived for 4th, and then Quinton Smith after a slow start.
And there's Paul Malloy. We see it in car from Liam Denning, and he takes out Greg Turley, a relatively inexperienced Paul Malloy, and that allows Denning to get a run at him. And there'll be words in the paddock afterwards after that, I'm sure.
Well, former Fiat Uno champion, and these Punto Abarths really suiting you. Fantastic class and a great drive from you, Brian Haid.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the drive. The car has been set up. Steve's doing a great job. I seem to just settle into what he's done at the moment. Got out. The rolling start was unusual for me. I haven't in the Fiat and the Unos that didn't do it. So I just tucked in behind him, waited for the chance, and got through, and managed to pull away, which was great. That's what I needed.